welcome to Real Talk with Sean, and this is the second ever episode of this. So, yeah, really looking forward to this. And if you didn't know by now, it's a no nonsense show. We tackle kind of the hottest topics in digital marketing without, with unfiltered answers and just getting straight to the point. And hopefully you enjoyed the first one. Did that a couple of weeks ago, and we had Natalia Witchick on, Daniel Foley Carter, John Hudson, and Ashley Bell. It's a great conversation, and I'm sure this one's going to be just as good. And yeah, I'll just do intros to my great guests, and then we get cracking on the topic. So we got Gus Pelogia. Gus is currently the Senior SEO Product Manager at Indeed, and has presented at Brighton SEO and London Excel, and it's doing a few more talks coming up. So keep in touch with him. And we got Tamara Novitović. And Tamara is currently the head of SEO at the Bazoom group, and has presented at Brighton SEO as well, and also doing other things this year. And we've got Jane Hunt, who you may remember has been on the show already. But Jane is co-founder and CEO of JBH and the author of the digital PR Playbook. So yeah, thanks all for joining me. Hopefully I've done them names justice. And yeah, really great to have you all here. So yeah, without further ado, we'll kind of get cracking on the first topic, and then we'll pass it around and get all your points of view on it. So last year, Microsoft's AI CEO, Mustafa Sullivan, stated that with respect to content that is already on the open web, the social contract of the content since the 90s has been at its fair use. He further explained, anyone could copy it, recreate it, reproduce with it, and that has been freeware, if you like, and that's been the understanding. Obviously, that caused quite a stir in the industry. What rights should content creators have when their work is used for AI training or repurposed online? And I actually said I've done some stuff in the news that will come out recently, well, in the next few days, that a few celebrities have also, came out in the press and said they're very unhappy about their work being repurposed for this such things.
With respect to content that is already on the open web, the social contract of that content since the 90s has been that it is fair use. Anyone can copy it, recreate with it, reproduce with it. That has been freeware, if you like. That's been the understanding.
So yeah, I'll pass it around. Tamara, what's your thoughts on this?
It is the whole controversial topic at the moment, I agree, and not just in public sector and mainstream media, but also within SEO and content creation for the search engine. But starting from the situation, it is a bit biased, just because the privacy laws are a bit outdated and were created in the late 90s, I think, when the search engine was not at all like it is today. We were not even aware that we went to AI in 20 years from that. And I believe that there has to be a conversation around the regulations, the new kind of laws and limitations for the use of AI. But the whole station is very biased because it comes from Microsoft and its employee, and poorly will depend the feature. But we have major lawsuits going on. We have the New York Times doing probably just for this reason, for reversing the content around kind of open reaching us on the web, but although we have to remember that, for example, New York Times has their own subscription model. So if it's really open to use and it is really all the content on the web freeware, Microsoft AI stated. I'm not so sure about that. We have the GDPR in the European Union, and the search engines are very regulated. Also, Australia has some very strict rules on the content that's been published. And I believe that the same can be applied to AI. Of course, we need more transparency. And for example, we can even, yeah, from my personal view, I know that Adobe Photoshop, for example, they have integrated AI algorithm that touches on photos, and you can use it for commercial purposes, uh, if you or others or anymore, and you need to either educate us this machine or state that this is you for use art at all. So we can see that the example OpenAI is kind of open source and extracting the data. But again, the tools that you are making or the different type of bots are not free to use, and they are being commercial. So I think we're just being a risk layer, and the bigger AI CEO are representing as just the bottom of the iceberg, but we're not seeing the rest that's used for creating millions and millions of their whole company taking away from unique creators. So I believe it's not that simple as they want to present it. Let may disagree, but from the actual perspective, it's a huge problem.
Yeah, same the same direction. Like we get this, the quote says fair use, but is this fair use? Fair use is I read a couple of articles and I put my own take on it. We all know a lot of the SEO contents that we see out there are variations of something that was already written, and maybe there's a percentage of new ideas in there. But that's not done at the massive scale like an OpenAI, like an LLM can do it. So it is a conflicting world because we're all using it and we see the benefits of it. But at the same time, there are a lot of people that are, getting their stuff used without their explicit permission. And there were no laws, like nobody knew that this was actually happening. These crawlers were coming and scraping all the websites and using that training for something else. So I think there is a conflict there. I hope there will be some sort of legislation and a new fair use of sorts for things like that.
Yeah, just on that, I mean, what I find weird about all things like this, like COVID was the same, like, lawmakers and governments have insight and intel that we don't have. They have insights like DARPA use technologies that are 25 years ahead of us and so on. They know about AI. It wasn't like just suddenly, okay, it did in our eyes grow rapidly, but they should have known this was coming down the line, and legislation should be there already in place to set that. And also Google, the kind of messages they were sending at the beginning about how they were going to be fair to pictures and about use of, they've totally gone back. And now what made me laugh recently is obviously the emergence of this Chinese chatbot that's come on. And then OpenAI are up in arms about them scraping their data. It's the funny.
It's a vicious circle.
Jane, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of agree with what's being said already, that, ideally there should be some control over usage and kind of transparency of how content is used to train AI and things. But I think it's just the same argument, just a different kind of angle on it, because, like I think Tamara mentioned earlier, we've been stealing, agencies, brands have been stealing each other's content and rewriting it for years and years, and that's how the majority of blogs have been put together. So it's just kind of a different layer, I guess, a more in-depth layer, kind of beyond that. So yeah, but I do think there should be some compensation for, if your content has been kind of used, and you should know what it's being used for. So I think there should be some transparency, but isn't this the same thing that Google's been doing with all of our content forever as well? So I can see it kind of from both sides, but I think, we're as an industry, we're prone to kind of panic and be like, oh, this isn't fair. But yeah, we'd been doing it in a similar way for years. So yeah.
Interesting. For me, I totally agree with what you said, Jane, about conversation, of course. But I think it's a long way because we can't even decide on like the end product that we are publishing. In this, or my product, am I the one that is the owner? If I prompt this into AI and it has company product, it's free to use, stuff right, chaotic, and I have a feeling that we're not going to be there in 3 years.
And I agree. When this question came up, I actually ran it through Perplexity to see what Perplexity said. And Perplexity actually threw up a link to .gov.uk site, which is about kind of copyright and artificial intelligence. And so obviously, the UK government says, there should be fair compensation and things. And there are some lawsuits going through about this at the moment, but I don't feel like that's anywhere near where it needs to be to govern this. Who's going to govern this properly? Like,
Yeah, probably.
perhaps, doing is no.
Yeah, I saw. I think it's Cloudflare that has or starting a service where you can block the AI chatbot, and if they want to access your content, they have to pay. And that might be an interesting solution because we're not going to have every website on the planet to have agreement with all the scrapers, and realistically, even if something we have a middle term solution like this, the actual payment is going to be very maybe cents at best. Like if you look at the size of websites, and even like what a play gets paid on Spotify or on streaming service that fully legalized, you need millions of plays to make a few $1,000. So it could be a middle term, a weird universe where the AIs are paying subscriptions to websites to train on data, but it'll be a very small amount realistically.
The problem is like Google has such a monopoly on the market that right now they're kind of saying, you can block us, but you're going to miss out on the same open AI, like in terms of chat, like a chat AI sort of tool. So they've got so much power that they're kind of saying, well, you can block us, but then everyone's going to go to your competitors. So that's the problem we've got, I guess. And just on what I was mentioning about celebrities, Richard Osman, who's obviously big in the UK, he does a lot of programs, he writes books, and he just said this is on my news channel, but a lot of the issues around AI are complex, but this one is very simple. He said, if you want to use copyrighted work, you ask permission, then you pay for it. Anything else is theft, and anyone arguing for anything else is harming the UK's creative industry. Obviously, I was talking about that, and from Macmillan point of view, like when we're creating clinical information, it takes months. It goes through a very, very detailed process, asking medical experts, trained editors and copywriters, and the assets videos take ages to create, and then an AI would just scrape it and put out a result like they've done it in seconds, and that's the problem. That it does need some conversation.
And where it's not even the main problem, the copyright, but also taking away the traffic, for example, and visits from other websites. We're talking about AI search results, not just the repurposing of the content or images or art. It will affect the small businesses and publishers and e-cards specifically. It will affect their revenue and exposure to their customers, because AI will just create their content and present it as the first results, and the user doesn't really need to click because the whole car in the results in the SEO is provides the following there, and maybe a little citation in the edit, maybe a link to the original story, but the main point, like in the UI, is that you get the user and you don't have to go anywhere else.
But on that note, I think people, people are clicking through. So it's just a different SERP for us. So as an agency, we're like, well, we want to rank kind of in Google, but we also want to rank in AI. And I know there's a lot of agencies testing out how their agency is going to rank, how they're going to rank their clients in AI search as well. And they're managing to do that. So it's as much as, we're kind of saying there's an issue here, there's also an opportunity. So if you start kind of AI, searching your content, etc., you're also stopping yourself showing up. So it's like it's a double-edged sword. So I think there's still an opportunity and you should go for both.
If you're creating informational-based content, like your website's informational-based, it's going to be tricky, but obviously if you are like a service-based, then I feel there's a lot more opportunity there because people will be going to these chatbots to ask for who's the best at this, who can do this best, and so on and so forth. I think there'll be a lot more of those conversations. But if you're answered the simple flat, what is, the capital of such and such, and so that's going to be answered by AI quickly, and no one's even going to look anywhere else really. So I think it depends.
It depends on the type of search you want to, right? Doesn't it? Whether it's kind of informational, or whether it's kind of further down the sales funnel.
Yeah. Is there any other thoughts on that, or we'll go on to the next one?
What do we have next?
Leading off what Tamara said, I guess, do search engines have a responsibility to support smaller publishers? Because obviously a lot of blogs and affiliate sites and just generally smaller sites, I've had discussions with smaller charities that have estimated their traffic into AI overview results. Do they have a responsibility to charities, or are they just there to make money and doesn't really matter about them? They've got a purpose, and then why should they care about some publishers? So
I was just going to jump in and say that I don't think they have a specific responsibility to support different sized businesses. However, I do think they have a responsibility to serve the most relevant content, and the most relevant content might come from a smaller business because they might have more in-depth, more niche content. So there's an opportunity, if you're super niche, to obviously rank quite high. And actually, in that respect, you should be chosen and you should be served.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's just like obligation, no. I think a lot of the other big players, if you look at Mac or other players, like they will change things. Social used to be a lot of organic. Facebook, it's not organic anymore. I've been hearing from years from people on social, like, oh, if you want any visibility, you have to pay. They've been doing that, and seems to be fine. Like Google is the one that, or at least maybe because we are closer to it, SEO was bigger than organic in these other platforms, so we keep fighting for that space. I don't think they have an obligation, but I think it's important to have an open web. At the same time, if they just, kill a lot of the sources where they get the information or what is displayed on Google, rather if it's informational or transactional or local businesses, if they shrink all of this, then they also won't have things to show later. So they might end up killing the whole business. So I think it's important to have an open web, to have, lots of options where people can buy from or learn from. So things can keep evolving, right? It's like if the LLMs don't send any traffic or they don't send people to website, they're going to kill the source of information that they are still training themselves. So the quality of what they deliver will also get worse. So they want to make money, and they will make money, and will use LLMs or LLM AI search, whatever you want to call it, but you still need something on the other side to keep feeding that machine. Otherwise, it's not going to hold together.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is that AI views is being shown a correlation of the top 3 results versus what they show in the AI views. So if you're anything below that, you're going to get, damaged at this stage. And what's your thoughts, Tamara?
I mean, I agree with what Jane advised, and we cannot fault the search engines. So, but I am a bit more critical toward Google because I don't believe that some of the data and features have been manipulated into there. And when putting out the AI results and their SGE, so eventually and without a lot of preparation for small publishers, I believe that was one way of manipulation, and it was not fair towards small publishers that are trying from or getting traffic coming from Google. And using Google as a main example because it's majority of the markets. And to be honest, we are playing in their own field. We are playing their own game, and all of the SEO work that we are doing is tailored to Google algorithms. So every shift and every change and every new rule, we need to adapt to their own system. And that's why I believe they are responsible for exposing their users us, exposing us to such extreme changes that are affecting the businesses. So I'm not saying they should be like legally responsible or anything, but I want to prefer to have more strict policies on the AI results. So we know what kind of AI results, like definition, maybe is the informational search result or commercial. So if it's purely informational and if the majority of the website that's not in the results anymore, then they have specific rates or guidelines for this. And if it's a commercial results, then I believe it should be more in the favor of small websites rather than AI results. This is purely from SEO side and from working with my clients and having direct consequences from the new AI features. And I know that Google offers some solutions, and we are able to block AI crawlers in robot PhD right now. So, but this is a very simple solution that anyone can do and think about. I believe that they are responsible for creating some new guidelines, at least not legally responsible or being sued, but at least are changing the game a bit in our favor. So, again, it's
No, I mean, it's all transparency, isn't it? I think, like, when they seen the agreement with Reddit, which has also affected people's traffic because it's so dominant on the search results. And obviously, they're saying that growth has nothing to do with the agreement they signed about using their AI content, which we all know is BS. And then also, it's another reminder that, that diversity is really important. If you are just relying solely on organic, you're going to be in trouble if something gets hit on your website. You need to be in the other places that your audience is in, which I'm sure Jane will recommend. And what I did cover on the news as well with Google is obviously they're going through this court case right now in America. They've also got one in the UK, obviously. But the one in the US, they donated $1 million, I think it's $1 million to Donald Trump's campaign. And so it'd be really interesting to see and the outcome of that now that it's in power. So, yeah, any further thoughts on this too? No? Okay, cool. Well, let's go forward. And this is interesting, one that's caused controversy on the social platforms. So, does blogging still cultural value? Yeah, Tamara, what do you think?
Well, debating that then of how was doing the NCO wild card here, and it really got to specific cases, unique cases, but I'm like 100% sure that it's the blogging that we know, like traditional blogging, is not attainable anymore. We 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 need to tailor for the identity. If we listen to Google, but that if we tailor too much, they will not value the authority of the website or in the way that they're doing it now, favoring the website to take media outlets. And well, we don't see that many small blogs anymore that are niche or like super niche, something like this. So I believe that blogging still offers value, but it takes a lot more work to get the value out. And I'm sure maybe Jay has more perspective on this, the PR side. But from what I see here is that blogging needs to cover not just content on the blog, but also all other social media aspects, going into videos as well, incorporating a lot of interactive things on the blog. So blogging is only just writing huge pieces of content or personal stories. Not anymore valuable, but they've had like a new hybrid type of real content.
Yeah, and the thing is, like now with the rise of user-generated content, we said Reddit, for example, if you want to know what it's like to paddleboard in Thailand or so, you're not going to just go randomly go on someone's blog. You're going to go and look on forums and places like Reddit, social media and stuff. So it's very competitive, and I think I'll just get yeah, we'll go. Actually, we'll go Gus, and then yeah, we'll go Gus. Go.
I think, yeah, it is, things have changed a lot. Like people will look for more, I look at my parents or, family looking around. They're not reading blogs to understand what to do. They are watching videos on Instagram or TikTok, and they get information in a different way. It's a lot more visual. It's easier to digest. But the LLMs are still trained in tech, most of it. So I think you still have that value, even, if you want to train AI, if you want to be on AI overviews, or if you want to train ChatGPT, Perplexity, and so on, a lot of the information will come from the text that is found on your website or on, different media websites. It's not really blogging, right? There's a very big difference between journalism and me writing on my personal blog. But the value, I think there's still some value in it. If you are a travel company, you could still write stories about the places that your audience could go, or the services that you offer, or questions they will have. Maybe it's that blended approach. You have a video, but you also have a list of places to go in text. So you're using both of them. There's less value than once it had, right? Like people searching in different ways, and it's a scary thing to see and to accept as an SEO, because we got so used to, you look at search volumes, you write things, you find a way to rank, you can, have a good idea of what the audience behind something, and it's never perfect, but it serves as a benchmark. And now look that people do things in different ways, and it's a way that is not dominated by us, right? I mentioned earlier, organic social on Facebook, completely dead, but it's not dead on Instagram. People are seeing reels, and, people are just flicking through one video after the other. So they're not really searching for it. The algorithm is feeding them things that they might be interested. So maybe that blended approach will be a good way to combine different things. You're not buying your next holiday on Instagram. You're probably going to Google at that stage, even though you were convinced by something you saw on Instagram. And so you still need to have that page on the other side that it will tell you the actual places to go in Thailand or, things like that.
Yeah, Jane, what do you think? From a PR perspective, be interested in you.
Yeah, I'm gonna come at it from a few perspectives. So I do think blogging still has a lot of value. And I've been doing it for so long that I've seen all the kind of trends come and go. That, even infographics are still going. And, in 2013, 14, everyone said, oh, infographics are dead. Everything gets, everyone says everything's dead, and it continues. It just slightly, the fallout might change slightly, or the emphasis. But I think there's two ways in which blogs can be really valuable. Obviously, the first is from a search perspective, being able to kind of serve your buyers with information that's relevant to their search. So, what problem are they searching for, which is the problem you solve or your kind of service solves. And a good example of this is our What is Digital PR article. So if we know that there's going to be people that know they should be doing digital PR, but they don't really know what it is, and then they're going to search for what is digital PR, and they want to, they want to learn, they want to understand what the benefits are. So we serve them with that. We're building credibility, etc. We're getting that traffic, and that's all really useful. And then secondly, you've got blogging for the sake of other platforms. So obviously you want to drive people from social media, from email to your blog. Obviously you want to build credibility for what you do. And that's where blogging comes in and is so important. So, if you're kind of a vet and you want to kind of rank for specific problems, or you want, you serve a really niche issue, then that blog is so helpful. An example is kind of 10 foods your dog shouldn't eat. These are really basic things, but they're still things people search for and things people want to know. And yes, they might be served in kind of TikTok or anywhere else, but there's still a need to show up in all these places, rather than just kind of thinking, oh, blogs don't have any value anymore. But so yeah, that's kind of what I think they do.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And obviously that's the importance of distribution as well. Just not creating just a blog, hoping the organic pick it up and do the work, distributing it to all your different channels, email, social, etc., depending on what it is, obviously. And also, it can help build topical authority, but like Tamara said, I think now it's just putting a bit more effort into them, not just churning out blog after blog for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Put some effort into it, creating assets for it, that kind of thing, for sure. Anything else on that one?
Just kind of to wrap things up, our SEO director has a really nice quote that I want to share. And it's that a blog is a relatively cheap way to get in the minds of people with the problem you solve. And I think that's fair, especially since, AI can help us improve the quality of the blog posts we write and the speed at which we write them too. I think, he's right. It's a relatively cheap way of doing it, building brand credibility. It's something to push your other channels, etc., and drive traffic.
And I was going to say upon that, actually, because the one thing that has opened the door possibly to the resurgence of blogs is the large language models, because they are starting to pick up. If you track traffic coming from large language models like ChatGPT and Perplexity and so on, well, what I've seen anyway, they're picking up pages that were quite hidden on Google. They weren't getting that much visibility, including blogs, and forum threads, just random pages that we didn't really give much, we weren't getting much visibility before, but because people are having more conversational, typing in things maybe they didn't put on Google in that kind of sense, the new pages are being found, So it has opened up the door for opportunity as well, like you said, Jay.
Yeah. And I should have mentioned from a digital PR perspective, obviously we use kind of blogs, to put campaigns on as well. And it's a great place to be able to distribute link juice to the rest of your site. So I don't want that to be forgotten either, that they do have an additional benefit for PR campaigns and also, directing people around your site.
I'm glad we got link juice in there because I've not heard that term. And anything else on that?
Yeah, I love this way of thinking, Jane, and I'm being hoped well stay in people's minds and also the algorithm. because from my side and really it's very difficult to track the link juice and where it comes from, the sources and everything. And currently I'm thinking about the link juice or ability was or impact from the GPT results and how their own link sensitization are affecting the link juice. Is it going to be a new part of link juice? How are we going to track it? And I think it's a very interesting new door opened in this area, not just ranking and results, but also in this. Are the AI results going to affect the authority in a different way that Google result? I'm excited to it, right? But also scared a little bit because we don't know anything. I can't even find a way to track it properly besides from UTMs and maybe A/B testing. But for now, it's a new area. But for me, I think if we follow the traditional way and adapt them to some new environments, I think will always be, well, we will always have results because I don't see any other way of doing it. So,
Yeah, I'm quite curious, and I might find ways to test it soon. I'm quite curious to know how can you affect the results on on AI answers, and I think being mentioned on places that have high regard by the AI sources that will help you to rank better. It's not like the traditional ranking, right? It's more the help you to appear more often if someone is looking for the best Italian restaurant in Milan, something like that. Um, if you're mentioned on places that AI is using to train their information, then you're going to start appearing there as well. There's this early trial on different tools that they're just running a large number of prompts and seeing how often brands are mentioned or linked, which is a very different game from the one we are used to, where we have, we have 100 keywords. It kind of ends there, or you get a bit more from Search Console and you have a certain number. Now it prompts, each one of us is going to search for the same thing with a completely different prompt, and you have a different conversation. So you don't have those boxes like we are used to. Here's a word or a group of words and a number to define that popularity. That's going to be, spread very, very long tail. So it'll be an interesting world to live in.
Yeah. I know Go Fish Digital, who I think it may have been the founder. I can't remember who it was. Go Fish Digital did a lot of testing to see how they'd get their agency to rank at the top of the AI SERPs, and they managed to do it. They managed to manipulate it. So it's well worth kind of having a look for it. I'll try and dig it out later and find a link for the post. But they managed to do it, and it was relatively simple. And it was just like best, digital PR agencies in the UK or whatever it was, but making sure you appear towards the top of that list, even if you are, that agency that's put it together, etc. So there's little ways of kind of manipulating things that people are doing, and it seems to be working.
we actually did the same thing last week for Wisdom, and it was just similar keywords for our service. And after a few days of feeding the AI with the information and the references and articles, we managed to appear in the side box. So the 5 results were from the big guys like big industry blog and everything that's also ranking Google. But we were on the 6th ending place for the different long tail keywords in ChatGPT's result. But the issue here is that I did it for my own account and from another one that we're going to test out. And we got similar results. But when my third colleague searched for similar prompts, they did totally different. So we were in the top 10, but it was a different page and, I'm still not hedging notes, the work logic around it, because you test, but you get different results. It's still there. You are becoming warm, but then you just cannot correct it from. So it's gonna be interesting. But guys, and just be quick when you're around COVID. I knew already with what you said, but I'm still a bit afraid of the results that are taken into consideration by AI, because AI is being blocked from a lot of small publishers for the copyright reasons, for the recommendation by Google to stop crawling. While the big forums, the sources of UGC information are not controlling. So I think maybe the information pool is not open. There's no such diversity like for Google Bot. But maybe the results are a bit more focused on what's left unblocked for AI scrapers. So we do not know, unfortunately, but it's still kind of there in my mind, and I can't get rid of it because I see it all. A lot of the sites are blocked, so either or not, thank you to this journalist.
Got a test to find out.
Yeah, but if we're dealing with that or 48 algorithm, that is 24.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking like much longer testing. You know, it's a new world. The rules are changing. You know, they might even change the way they do things as well. Once people start finding ways to manipulate, it's gonna be the old game we had with Google. You know, oh, we know links work, so everyone starts pushing everything on links and realize, oh, we also need a good page experience. So everyone goes to page experience. Oh, now you need to have EAT. So everyone is, you know, it's probably going to be a similar game. A few people will crack the case, and then everyone's going to spam that way, and there'll be a new rules to the game, and we're going to keep going.
Yeah, 100% with that. That's definitely going to happen because it always does. But yeah, no, like you say, it's so tricky now working in digital marketing, because especially in search, obviously, because of the personalization, the localization side of it, the way they're doing search now is just the results. So you're not going to get one single result for any sort of query, it seems. So it's going to be very tricky. And also things like OpenAI, like you're discussing with the sources they use, obviously to sign deal with Associated Press, for example. So this is where I kind of get a bit, I don't like it too much when they start signing agreements with certain publications and stuff, because there will be biases, and whether they say like, well, we read it and Google, oh, well, it's nothing to do with that, but it is, because, well, the results speak for themselves. Let's try and crowd me one more topic, because again, it's controversial, but you know, we'll go there. Will AI empower humanity or lead to its decline? And will it enhance productivity or encourage laziness? So, yeah, Tamara, do you want to go first?
I actually talked about it in my October writing instance. And I reference the metric a lot, because I believe that these are only into that direction. We will have to choose whether we will give everything to AI to coverage well, or if we're going to use it as a helper. Right now, I'm advocating for doing the second thing and using it as an everyday tool, and not asking it for opinions and solutions, like complex solutions. So it's good for me. I'm not a math person, so I'm not over that. But with AI, I become data analyst in a matter of a few weeks. So, all right, that's cool, and I like it for that reason. But I don't want AI to take away my job. So I'm very cautious with how much I use it and how much I rely on AI. So ethically, it's majority of people will think in the same way, but unfortunately, there's a lot of industry leaders using it too much. And just yesterday morning, I was like, first post huge SEO blog, the authority that forgets to remove a point from their latest blog. So they just published a point in the beginning of the blog. So I was like, I do not trust it anymore, So
The thing is, like, and you have to take history into account. Humans have become lazier and lazier as the years have gone on. We became very impatient. We can't even wait 2 minutes for a bus anymore without complaining. And if internet is lagging, people get angry. We're very spoiled, and AI is only going to lean into that and give us potentially all the stuff we want now. But obviously, even the godfather of AI and everyone that was involved in it from the early days are warning it's dangerous if we let it get into control. Obviously, I can't remember his name, but there's a really intelligent person who talks about AI, and he's just saying, like, imagine if we let it take over our financial systems. Right now, only about 2% of the world actually fully understand to some degree how our financial systems actually work, because it is quite complex. So if you give open AI or AI any generally to that 2%, and humans don't even understand how the financial system works, and AI is fully in control of it, how do we even take control back or get involved? You just can't.
Yeah, I'm money back out the bank and put it in the mattress again.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, Gus, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm always positive, and I'm always going with the flow. So I think it's gonna enhance productivity in many ways. You need to learn where it works and how to use it. Right now, it's just being plastered everywhere, and after a while, people might realize, oh, this is actually pretty bad, or it doesn't do anything we thought would do, or it's more complex than we thought it would be. So there's probably going to have a learning curve. Now everything is AI. Maybe a lot of these things will fade over the next month or the next years, and some of them will stay, but not all of them. And so yeah, I think we also need to think about the environmental implications. I hear that it uses a lot of energy to generate every answer. Is that feasible to keep increasing that ask for every search or every ask that we have to AI? I don't know, probably not. But it'll be interesting. I'm learning how to use. I'm trying to understand different models and what are the ways that I can do things better at work. And if I don't do it, a colleague of mine will do it, and that person will increase their productivity. So I'm using as much as I can, as much as I'm allowed to, with the consideration that that's going to free up my space, my time to do something better, to do something else that the AI can't do yet. So ideally, or at least in my view, is not just replacing the work that I will do, but it's replacing part of that work so I can do something else.
Yeah, and on that environmental thing, obviously that's what kind of the new Chinese app that's come out kind of caused controversy, because apparently they're using a fraction of the resources to create that that AI system, and also and this is what people are saying, it can do so much for us if we use it correctly. It can harness, even if it is using power, it will find a solution to then stop using that power and perhaps create free energy for people and stuff like that. So obviously, if you mix it with quantum quantum mechanics, which I'm definitely not an expert in, but it is developing quite well, quite quickly. If we mix that with artificial intelligence, they could create solutions to all our biggest problems, like cancer, hopefully, and other medical issues, and climate change, and so on and so forth, in quick, in minutes compared to like years, if we enhance, use it correctly and don't weaponize it like we do everything else, and also and use it for silly things like celebrity gossip and stuff like we use the internet, because the internet could have done a lot more than it probably is today. So but yeah, it's Jane, what do you think?
I mean, we're using it as an agency for, we're testing it for most of the things we do to see if we can improve efficiency and therefore do more. So, we're using it, to find data, proving, or, analyzing headlines in the media to see which are the strongest, suggesting alternative angles. And then I'm not an SEO, so I won't talk about kind of what Andy, our SEO director, is using it for in his team. But I know, he's very reliant on it, and it's dramatically improved what he's able to deliver and the speed. So I think there's definitely benefits to it for us as an organization. However, my concern is, for how it's used for humanity. And obviously now we've got Elon Musk very close to Trump, and, Elon Musk's take on AI. And I think a couple of years ago, he said how dangerous he thought it was if it was misused. And I think if it's going to be used for political gains, and I reckon that's the real danger of it. Not what we do with it for work, on a small scale, but what happens to it, to push political agendas, really. That's my concern about it.
Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. I think the danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to just build nuclear warheads if they want.
Well, on that, what I touched upon earlier, Sam Altman at OpenAI, they also gave Donald Trump 1 million, I think, and think so anyway. I have to check that, but definitely he's involved in the new Stargate program that Donald Trump launched, which is trying to enhance their artificial intelligence capabilities across America. So like you say, they're kind of tied together, and also Elon Musk has come out to say that we've exhausted all the knowledge on the internet now. So now we're going to have to train the AIs to go out themselves and create thesis and pieces of content, and then mark themselves and do that sort of loop rather than using the content created by humans. We've exhausted that now, apparently. So that's when I start getting a bit concerned. Obviously, like you say, from day to day, it's great for us working in industries and stuff, but not great for everyone for losing their jobs. But also, but also it has those bigger implications. And I guess, Gus, working in where you do, have you seen the kind of job market sort of change in terms of AI-based jobs kind of creeping up, and then also job losses for the jobs that may be affected?
I guess, we can see like in the tech sector, I'm not a specialist on it, so I'm not replying in the name of Indeed, but just in my own view. We do see like lots of layoffs happening. AI is part of it. I'm hoping this is going to turn into new jobs in different areas, like every revolution that happens. But it's a weird time for SEO and for the tech industry in general, with all the shifts in the economy shifts and then AI shifts and so on.
Yeah. Anything from anyone else?
I would just say that this whole situation kind of reminds of industrial revolution that we survived and thrived in. So, it will never. And hopefully we'll use it for increased productivity and not let it affect our future generations psychologically and verbally as well. I believe that we as SEOs and marketers especially need to be more careful about the content we are generating with AI and need to be more responsible with it. Because the more we use it, it will generate more results and more people will adapt to it and get used to this type of content. The wording, the complexity or the simplicity of the content. And I believe it can affect generations and in a way that they're consuming information. So the more kind of information we give them, how to appear, they will adapt to this, and then it will be a major issue. Like it's going to be a problem in education and consuming information. So we as industry experts or whatever, I think we need to be more vocal about this and stand up and implement our own ethical ways and how we are using AI and educate others that are maybe misusing or overusing AI. So I think we can also implement this. Or we would. So, yeah, but think about it, man.
Yeah, I'm a bit doom and gloom sometimes, but I do think the printing press, obviously, like that's the thing. The problem is the printing press couldn't think for itself. It couldn't read, it couldn't duplicate itself. It couldn't educate itself, like I say, and that's the only difference, I guess, that we have in this side. That we've seen it where people have done tests on different systems on AI. Computers talking to each other, and then so with a certain code, and then they've gone away and then they thought, "Oh, screw this!" They create their own code and started talking between themselves in their own particular code, and they've done that with drones as well. And obviously, then that becomes a bit more of a problem. You just have to pull the plug out completely. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Any further thoughts on AI and our future? No. Okay, cool. We'll call it a wrap because we won't. Yeah, we haven't really got time for another topic. But hopefully you'll find that interesting, and it was a really great conversation. I really do appreciate all your time. Thank you so much. And yeah, it was a great conversation. So cheers.
Thanks for having me.
That was pretty cool.